Have you ever looked in the mirror and for a split second you say to yourself, "Is that really me?" Or had a moment when you looked around and everything seems off, almost unreal? There's a reason this phenomenon happens to many of us. What if, rather than an infinite universe expanding outward, everything we experience is happening within a hollow shell, projected onto the walls of reality itself? This idea is known as the hollow universe theory. It's an idea that challenges our usual perception of space, suggesting that rather than existing in a vast, open cosmos, we're actually living on the inner surface of a hollow sphere, or a shell of reality. Some believe this theory could explain a lot about the nature of our universe, like the strange patterns we observe in cosmic microwave background radiation, or the idea that information about the universe could be stored at the edges of existence itself. This idea overlaps with a concept in theoretical physics called the holographic principle. The holographic principle suggests that all the information we perceive in our 3D world could actually be stored on a 2D surface, a boundary, like the outer shell of a hologram, where all the data of our reality is encoded. Think about it this way. Just like a hologram can create the illusion of 3 dimensions on a flat surface, the hollow universe theory suggests that what we experience as space, depth, and matter might all be projections. But projections of what? In this model, matter may not exist in the way we traditionally think of it. Instead of independent, solid objects, everything we interact with, trees, buildings, even our own bodies, might be encoded information projected onto this cosmic shell. Our minds interpret this information as physical substance, but what we experience as matter might be more like a holographic effect. This idea has profound implications for how we understand our place in the universe. If matter is essentially a projection, then our interaction with it isn't with something completely separate from ourselves, but rather with something that's both inside and outside of us, a bridge between consciousness and reality. This is where things get even more interesting. If the universe is hollow, if everything we experience is a projection, it raises big questions about consciousness. Could our minds, our identities, and our experiences be just reflections of something else entirely? Could our consciousness be linked to this shell of reality? Some philosophers argue that this theory implies that reality, as we experience it, is shaped as much by what's projected onto this shell as by what's inside of us. In a sense, our consciousness could be part of this projection, merging inner awareness with the outer cosmos. This suggests that our perception of matter might not be something purely external to us, but is also influenced by our own minds. This idea of a hollow or projected universe has roots not just in physics but in philosophy, a field that has long questioned what's real, what's an illusion, and how our minds interact with the world around us. For instance, in Plato's Allegory of the Cave, reality is portrayed as shadows cast on a wall, mere illusions that most people take as the only truth. Plato suggests that reality, as perceived by our senses, is limited and not the true nature of existence. In a similar way, the hollow universe theory proposes that what we see as solid and real might be a kind of cosmic shadow, a projection on the inner shell of the universe. Then there's Descartes, who famously asked, "What if everything I perceive is an illusion?" His question led to his conclusion, "I think, therefore I am." The hollow universe theory echoes this idea. If matter and reality are indeed projections, then the only thing we can truly know is our own consciousness, our own awareness, as it interacts with these projections. This aligns with Eastern philosophies as well, like Hinduism's concept of Maya, or illusion, which suggests that the world we perceive is not the ultimate reality but a veil over the true nature of existence. In Buddhism, the idea of dependent origination teaches that reality is interdependent, created through consciousness, perception, and the mental and physical environment, similar to how the hollow universe theory implies that consciousness and encoded information co-create the world we experience. In both Western and Eastern traditions, the notion of an illusory or projected reality raises a fascinating question. If reality is a projection, what does that make us, the observers? Are we separate from the world, or are we intrinsic parts of this universal mind, a mind that uses projections to create the reality we experience? In the hollow universe theory, this line between the self and the universe blurs. Consciousness and matter might not be separate entities, but part of the same cosmic structure. It suggests that by understanding the nature of reality as projected or hollow, we can come closer to understanding the relationship between our minds and the cosmos, a connection that philosophers and mystics have pondered for centuries. This theory also intersects with other ideas, like the simulation hypothesis and even the multiverse theory. In fact, some physicists argue that black holes might function like cosmic projectors, encoding information on their event horizons, much like how this theory imagines the universe. In this light, the universe could be viewed as a grand system of encoded information, constantly shaping and reshaping itself, possibly giving birth to multiple realities or dimensions. And if we're part of this, then consciousness might be the force interacting with, or perhaps even shaping, these realities. But, of course, not everyone agrees with the hollow universe theory. While it's an exciting concept, critics argue that it's speculative and lacks concrete evidence. Current physics does provide some interesting patterns, but many scientists believe there's more data to gather before we can make conclusions about the universe's true structure. So, what if the universe really is hollow? What would it mean for us and our place in it? Could it change how we understand our consciousness and our reality? Whether or not this theory turns out to be true, one thing is clear: our universe is full of mysteries, and every new idea, no matter how out there, brings us a step closer to understanding our place within it. If you enjoyed exploring the hollow universe theory with me, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next dive into the unknown. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the universe could be hollow?